Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and I think by now you're probably used to this. It's the weekend. It means we're carrying on with equality cages. It's equality cages 112. Or at this point, would you just call it 112? Don't really know. Now, a word of warning about this equality cages. So it's actually a construction between gUBBLOR, and I'm sorry, I'm going to mispronounce this, Schwupel, and they both left quite a bit of warning about this particular puzzle, stating that it is 3.5-star difficulty rating. They also left some hints that I don't know how I can sort of copy them across without A, revealing them to myself, and B, I'm not sure I can actually sort of change the font color in YouTube so that it's hidden unless you select it. So I'm going to figure out how do I put it out there so that you guys can have access to it without necessarily, giving it to anyone that doesn't necessarily want to expose themselves to it. Now, the puzzle itself is called Entropic modularity, and I think I mentioned before that I always struggle with trying to model what entropy looks like, and I've gone with the same theme of lots of stardust as a way of showing, entropy over time and a clock on the back wall there. But modularity, yeah, I really struggled with this one. So I'm just thinking maybe singularity. And here we've got a little girl in bed thinking about entropy and singularity and all science fiction type of things. That's all I'm going to go for. Let's take a look at the puzzle. Right. First thing you'll probably notice is, goodness me, the font size is probably tiny on these rules because there's a lot of them. So I'll take you through these first, and then, well, wish me luck and good luck to you as well if you attempt this. This is probably amongst the hardest we've attempted on this channel. So let's take a look at what we have in store for today. So normal Sudoku rules apply. That means place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box. Second, we have Kropki dots. I'm skipping over equality cages. I tend to do those last. So Kropki dots, I can see we've got a black dot in here. That means these have to be in a 2-to-1 ratio. So if that's a 2, this could be 1 or 4. It has to be that one of these cells is double the other. And a white dot means that they are consecutive. If that was a 2, this would have to be 1 or 3. Not all dots are shown, so nothing wrong with such a setup, for example, where I actually have digits that are consecutive without a white dot and digits that are double of one another without a black dot. We have X. Adjacent cells connected with an X must sum to 10, and again, not all X's are shown. So these two cells, if this was a 2, this would have to be an 8 to make sure that they add up to 10. And again, nothing wrong with me having something like this, where the 3 and 7 clearly add up to 10, but there is no X between them. Right, here is the interesting bit. We're on to entropy, modularity, and equality cages. And I'm looking at the sheer number of modular lines in here, and I'm thinking I'm really not comfortable with this, but hey hum, we're committed to working through these equality cages. Hopefully this will not get us stuck too long. So entropy, the orange lines are entropic lines. Each set of 3 consecutive digits on a line must be 1 each from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, 9, and digits may repeat on a line. I guess that's the example here because they do actually cross different boxes. So essentially we're talking about high, medium, low. Now, nothing in the rules says that it has to be high, medium, low. So there is nothing wrong with me having, for example, a medium followed by a low, followed by a high. And I'm just obviously making up this example where this is from 4, 5, or 6. This is from 2 or 3, and this is from 7, 8, and 9. Now, the key thing is that it repeats. So whatever this cell is, in this case it's medium, you can see medium, low, high, back to medium. And this would have to be from 4, 5, and 6. Same is true for all of these lines. This is something sort of just keep an eye out for as we progress with the puzzle. Then we have the entropic lines. Now the green lines are modular lines, and each set of the 3 consecutive digits on a line must be 1 each from 1, 4, 7. I'm going to actually write these out because they're going to be awkward to remember. 2, 5, 8, and 3, 6, 9. So very similar to how we just went through the entropy lines, in that if this cell is, let's say, from 147 and this is from 369, then this cell would have to be from 258 to make sure that there is every three cells, any three cells on the line, have got one from each of these sets. Then obviously the pattern has to repeat so that these three include a digit from the 147 group. So that would be 147, and then you repeat, and so on and so forth. Digits may repeat on the line. In this particular case, yeah, they can actually. We've got these two cells could actually be the same because they are in different boxes. And I guess any of these cells could also be the same because they're in different boxes and are not in the same column or row. Right, then we're talking about equality cages. I feel like this is going to be a long puzzle, so I'm going to keep my water handy. Equality cages. All the cages in here are equality cages. Now, cages must have an equal number of low, as in 1, 2, 3, or 4, and high digits, as in 6, 7, 8, or 9. But they also have to have an equal number of odd digits and odd digits and even digits. So, for example, if this is a 1, that's a low odd digit. Therefore, we need to have a high even digit. So this would have to be from 6 or 8. Right. Looking at this puzzle, I agree with the difficulty rating. Although, in my plays, I've often found that a lot of my struggles with Sudoku comes down to confidence. So I'm just going to go into this puzzle thinking this is 1 or 2 star difficulty rating, and I'm going to solve it as such. Now, if you're up for taking on this challenge, link will be in the description down below for you to play along as usual. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. And I'm pretty sure I get on fabulously. That can only be 3 or 6. Equality cages, we've learnt this. If you want something that is both low and high, immediately from the black dot options, you're either 3, 6 or 4, 8. Now you want to have an equal number of odd and even. Well, 4, 8 are both even. That doesn't work, so it can only ever be 3, 6. Now, I am going to... Oh, so this is a low digit. This is a middle digit. This has to be a high digit from 7, 8, or 9. Okay, what else do we have in here? So we've got a modular line. Is it modular? Yeah, modular. So I'm going to use some colors. Let's go with purple, green, and orange. Then you can immediately see that purple has to repeat, and then green has to repeat. So I'm gonna do something in here, just for my benefit. So these are the 3 sets in here, and essentially what we have is one green set, whichever one is this is green, that has 2 cells that add up to 10. Now it's not the 147 set. 19 doesn't exist. 46 doesn't exist. 73 doesn't exist. 28 looks pretty promising. And then in here, yep, 37 is not available, 46 is not available, and 19 is not available. So basically a perfect copy of, yeah, of course it is, that this and these add up to 10. And yep. Anyway, long way of saying this is 2, 8. That's not an 8. Can I do better? I suspect I can, if I think about it enough. So the green cells, we need a third green in the box, which is the 5. And the 5 is, well, none of these are green. These are not 5s. That's the 5. I don't know if I'm going to keep up with the coloring, by the way, but I feel like I will for a while longer. So these are, what am I thinking? These 2 are orange. Sleuth, pay attention. Therefore, that's the 9. And this is now a 7, and this is 1 and 4. Yeah, I am going to color. Sold. I clearly am going to need it. Right. Am I going to keep this reference up here, or is it going to confuse me? I'm going to keep it up for a while longer. But as I sort of go left and go down, at some point, this will be in the way and I will remove it then. But by then, I'm hoping I've kind of made it muscle memory. Right. down looks easier, although, I mean, look at this setup where we have, I bet if I think hard enough about it, we can actually make some real progress about it. See, what I'm sort of, I should really articulate what I'm trying to say here. So the fact that we have a crisscross of cells between entropy and modularity, I think that this is a lot more restricted than it may seem, particularly actually with the 10. So this is clearly easier. I'm going to show you why. You can immediately see that these on the modularity line, I'm deliberately using different colors here, by the way, that you've got blue in here, all three in the same box. You can see immediately that green is not yellow because, you know, green is only 3 of them, and that would make 4 in the same column. So we can make real progress by going down this way, but may as well savor the puzzle. Right. So we need... So just a quick reminder, I think. Let's just put these up here somewhere. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So essentially, when we're talking about entropy lines, we have to basically cycle through these in any order. What is critical in here is clearly this is not a 4-6 pair because they're the same color and they have to change colors as they move forward. So this is either 1319, 28, well, not 28, or 37. And then we've got a low, a high, or a high, a low, and then this has to be a middle digit. This is from 4, 5, and 6. And this is where the interesting bit, I think, comes, in that now we're looking at cells that intersect between modularity and entropic lines. And I think we can probably make more progress than it may seem in here. So let's think about this for a second. So 1, 3, 7, and 9, that's unfortunately from every color. It's purple or orange. No, it isn't. It's not from every color. I don't have green. So this is purple or orange. Then it's a different, and then this color repeats. These two cells repeat in terms of there's something. So one option is essentially they're both yellow, not yellow, sorry, green. So that's one option, in that it's 258. Or the other option is they're also purple and green. And this is, sorry, purple and orange, and this is green. Can I disprove one or the other? So let's try green. If this is 258, this would be 2 or 8. Green, purple, orange. I mean, that would make this purple or orange. And it can be, providing that this is not a 5. So this would have to be 4 or 6. And this would have to be 2, 5, or 8. I don't know what to say other than that, you know, just looks plausible. Am I missing something that I am not spotting? Probably. Sleuth, you're not paying attention. You're just not paying attention. I said they intersect, and then I just focused purely on the modularity line. This doesn't bode well if I'm struggling that early. But essentially, this is from 4, 5, or 6. Because it's 4, 5, 6, as in middle, low or high, low or high, back to middle, and it's not 5. So this is 4 or 6, and 4 or 6 is purple or orange again. And remember, this is the repeat of here. This is purple or orange. Therefore, this is a 5, because that's green. And green is connected to, with this white dot, with another 4, 6. So this is purple or orange again. Can I do better? Surely I can do better. I mean, especially because if this is orange, so that would be 4. So that can only be 9. Let me just sort of play this out. And then I really should just move on to what's easier here. That would make this 3, 7. That would be 9, because 1, 9 is no longer available. That would make this 3, 7. Specifically, remember, they have to change color. So that would have to be the 7. That would have to be the 3. Then we're on to the 5. Then we're back onto orange. And this is from 3 or 6. Well, we've placed the 3. That would be 6. And that would be 4. So that's like option A, where this is orange. Now, the other option is that this is purple. And remember, both of these would have to be purple. Now, this 7 tells me that this would have to be from either 1 or 4. It's unfortunate, because if that was a 4, that would allow me to have 1 and 9 back in here again. Let's play this out. So I think let's try the 4 option for a second. What would 4 do? 4 would mean that this would have to be orange. And from my 1, so this would have to be 3. So if it's orange, it's 3, 6, or 9. So this would be 3 or 9. If that's 4, that would be 3 or 9. And then that would be 7 or 1. And I guess that would have to be a 6. And then I would have to make this purple again. And 4 is not available, so it's 1 or 7, which kind of breaks, doesn't it? Because because either 1, 9, then we've got 1 and 4, and this becomes a 7. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think it's solvable. Sorry, I'm kind of undoing just so that I go back to what it was. And maybe I just need to sort of come back to it later. Right, let's just do easier things here. Right, so what do we know about this? So let's try something. Blue is definitely not purple. It could be green, with essentially 2 and 8 with a 5. Then the 5s, no 5, would force a 5 in here. Let's try this. I think that actually breaks. Let me show you with a 5. Because blue is definitely not purple, otherwise we'd end up with 4. The other option is blue is green, and I think that actually breaks. Because you see, we end up with 2, 5, and 8 eliminated from box 9, and they have to be in here. Now the 5 can't be inside the equality cage, and we end up with 2 even digits inside the equality cage. So blue is not green nor purple, it's orange. And therefore it's from 3, 6, and 9. 3, 6, and 9. Then we need to think around yellow and red. Yellow can't be green, otherwise we'd end up with 4 of them. So red has to be green. This has to be 5. We still end up with 5, sort of in this pattern with a 5 in here. And then yellow has to be, what was the last color? Purple. And these are from 1, 4, and 7. This is 2 or 8. Therefore, this is another 2, 8. This 2, 8 setup here with the 10s is very helpful. Sorry, I'm getting messages despite it being 8 p.m. as I record from the office. So let me just disconnect from that. Right, what do we have left? So we need a third purple in this column. Sorry, third orange. I'm pointing at orange and saying purple. This has to be it because we've already placed 3 of them. So that's orange, and this is from 3, 6, or 9. At this point, we've placed everything except one purple, which is from 1 or 4. What is this? Well, I mean, we need one orange in here, one from the 3, 6, because again, we can't place them in there, and a purple. Is that correct? No. And a green. So essentially, what am I saying? No, green is in here with one purple. So yeah, this is a purple of 1, 4, or 7 with 3 or 6. Now, if it's 6, it would have to be with 1 or 3. Well, it can't be with 3. So 1, 6 is one option. If it's 3, it would have to go with 6 or 8. Well, again, 6 is not available, and actually 8 is not available. So it is 1, 6, which finally gives me some more digits 15 minutes in. Goodness me. 3, 6, not 6. 6 is in one of these, and therefore, well, not 6 here either. That's a 1. That gives me a 4, a 1, a 4, not 4. Definite 4 in one of these, but actually that's not a 1 either. So we have in here, don't know if it's even worth pencil marking, because we essentially have got a 4, 7, a 3, 9, and one loose digit, which is a 4, 7, a 3, 9. No, that's it. And yeah, we don't know what it is at the moment. Okay. Am I really going to have to look at this again? It looks, oh yeah, 4. Come on, Sleuth, that's a 6 now. Yeah, I got ahead of myself. Sorry about that. With that, that gives me the color. This is orange. Therefore, this is orange. And this is purple. And therefore, because we already placed 3 and 6, that's a 9. These are now from 3 and 7. That has to be purple, and therefore it has to be 7. Yeah, that was not very clever. It was interesting, but it was a monumental waste of time. But it does allow me to basically sort of place these fairly quickly. So this is from 1, 2, and 8. That's not a 1. There's a 1 for sure in here. I know what... No, I don't know what these are. No, I cancelled this. Just Sudoku. Where does 7 go in box 9? 7 is in one of these cells, therefore that's a 1. And just ones, I mean, Sleuth, come on. It really doesn't bode well if I'm sort of struggling with something like this. So this is known now. This is from, excuse me, 2, 7, and 8. And there's a second 3, 9 and a second 4, 7. Has it really changed? Right. This kind of catches my attention because we've done this previously in that you can't have 4, 5, or 6 on here because they need to change color on the entropy line. So this is from, and it's the same thing again. We've got a 2, 8 in here. So this is either 1, 3 or 7, 9. And we've got 7, 9 looking at this cell. That's not 7 or 9. This is 1 or 3. And this is 7 or 9 to add up to 10. Now, once again, we need a middle digit because we've got low, high. We need a middle, and it's not 6 and it's not 5. That's a 4. That's a 7. This is now a definite 4 with 3 or 9. These are 2 odd digits. We need 2 even digits to make that equality cage work. It needs to be 1 low and 1 high, sort of match what's going on in here. We've already placed the 4, so that means there is a definite 2, which gives me an 8, which means this is a 2, 6 pair. And now this is from 1, 3, and 9 to complete the row. We've got something very similar happening in here in that I've got 2 odd digits. This, let me just complete this 2. These are now from 2, 4, 6, or 8. And this 2 removes a 2 from here. Now, I've got at least 1 low digit. Because this is either a double, as in like 1, 3, in which case this is 6, 8. Or this includes a 9, in which case I have one of the 2 or 4s. But it definitely has 1 high even digit. Right, let's move on. Time is rapidly running out. Can I do anything with any of these? Doesn't feel like it. Sudoku 4. Here is something. Yeah. Here is something. This entropy line needs a middle digit, and 4 and 6 are gone. So we have to have a 5 on here. No 5s. No 5s. That's a 5. One of these 2 is a 5. Let's carry on with 5s. 5s are in none of these. One of these 2 is a 5. Now you can see with these X-wings, 5s are in neither of these columns. 5 is not in this spot. 5 is not in this equality cage. This is a 5. That's not a 5. That's a 5. Very clever. Very clever. I don't know how the constructors just come up with this stuff, but this is just amazing. So let's I'm looking at this white dot for a second, because if you take a look at column 2, 5, 7, and 9 are eliminating incredibly a large number of options. So the secret about white dots is you always have to have, because they're consecutive, one of them has to be odd, one of them has to be even. And because we've got 5, 7, and 9 in here, then I know this doesn't include 8 or 9, 8 or 7, 6 or 7, 5 or 6. So I'm actually immensely restricted about my options in here. Now, one option is 4 and 3, obvious, given the pencil mark that I have with the corner pencil marks. But I'm also sort of thinking about the equality cage. And the reason I'm thinking about this is we've seen this once before in one of the previous puzzles from gUBBLOR. We have 7 and 9 in here, which means I can only afford 1, 7, 9, which is what I need for this 4. So this is my second 7, 9. There isn't a second one, so I can't put a 2 inside this equality cage. So I think this white dot is actually forced, because without a 2, 1, 2 is not available, 2, 3 is not available. As incredible as it sounds, the only option that I have in here is 4 and 3. And the 3 would require a high even digit, which is 6 or 8. The 3 actually breaks this pattern, 1 and 9. That's now got to be a 2, because I've got one. Essentially, these are from 2, 6, and 8 to complete the column. So that's got to be a 2. What am I saying? That can't be 2 or 6. That has to be the 8. That has to be the 6. That has to be the 2. That has to be the 6. And now we have 3 and 7 in here. That 1 gives me the 6. The 1, that 9 removes the 9 as an option. 9 is definitely down on one of these spots. Actually, even better, this is a 6. Let me just tidy up. This is not a 6. Excuse me, this is not a 6. This is a 6. This is... Can I tidy up anything else? Does the 3 give me anything else? No. That's not a 4. That's not a 6. That's not a 6 either. And remember, I said because we have one low digit, it actually forces a 9. So have a look at the options that we have in here. Does it force a 9? Yes, it does. Right, so I could have, in terms of options in this equality cage, either 2, 4, 2, 8, or 4, 8. Now remember, I already have one low odd digit, so I have to have an 8. But because I don't have a 6 available, I can't place 6 and 8. I have to have one low even digit. I have to have one high odd digit. So that's not a 9. And I'm not going to corner pencil mark this, but there's definitely an 8 in this equality cage. This is on a modularity line. It's an orange. We need one of every color. I guess it's the next step. That 9 gives me a 7. That's not a 7. That's a 2-8 pair. So there's 1 with 3 or 9 in here. Just completing the row. I'm kind of surprised I haven't been able to solve these at all yet. They're sort of just dragging on, and I'm just thinking, am I missing something? And these as well, they're just with me all the way, it seems. Can I do much with this? Sort of. So back to this entropy line. Because we have 3 cells, we need to have a low digit. And we know that this low digit is not a 3, it's from 1 and 2. So there is a 1 and 2 between these 2 cells with the 1, 2, and 8. So essentially I have 1, 2, and 9 with a definite 9. And then to complete the box, I have 1, 2, and 8 with a definite 8. This one means neither of these are 1s. Yeah, I'm going to have to think about this next. It's unfortunate that I don't know what this is. Once I know, then I know that this is the same. But let's think about it. So options are, well, it's not orange. Remember, this is on a modularity line, so it has to change colors. And it's either purple or green because we've already placed the 3. Can't be a 9 because they're the same color. So that's not a 9. That is a 9. That's a high digit. That has to be a high digit that is a different color from these 2, whatever that means. So options for this is purple or green, and therefore this is also purple or green. Now the high digits from purple and green are, I'm going to say 7 and 9. Did I do this correctly? No, green. I didn't do this correctly. 7 or 8? I think that's correct. If that's a 1, that's purple. We need a high green digit, which can only be an 8. If this is green, which is a 2, then we need a high purple digit, which is a 7. Now we have a quadruple in this row. And to complete this, we need 6 and 9, I'm going to say. That looks correct. Which removes a 9 from here. Places a 1-3 pair, which makes this a 9, makes this a 3, makes this a 9. No 9 in here, that's a 3-4 pair. And I still don't know these colors. Am I getting anything else in here from the 2 7/8s? 2-8 pair, not really. So I think we're basically down to this last equality cage at this point. And then we're really out of clues. So what do we have in here? We have a 1, a 9, or a 2-8. Let's think about options. If this is a 1, this would have to be 6 or 8. Well, no 6. And no 8. I really do need to pencil mark this, otherwise. So no 1. If it's a 2, this would have to be 7 or 9. That's not an option. If this is an 8, this would have to be low odd digit. Well, it's not 3, and the 1 has to be up here. So it's not an 8. So that's a 9. Feels convenient. It was that easy to place. That doesn't feel right. 2-4 gives me a 2-4-8 triplet. That 9 is orange. This is purple or green, which would make this, well, green is actually done. That's all the green's done. So that is purple. And 1 and 4 already placed. That's 7. I know what these two cells are. That 7 actually gives me an 8. An 8 is green. And therefore this has to be purple. That's a 1. That's not a 1. That's a 2-8 pair now. Deadly pattern. Okay. That's now a 1. That's not a 1. This is 2 and 8 pair. That 8 gives me a 2, an 8, and 8. That 2 gives me, well, it gives me a 7. Because I've already placed a 2 and 8. That's not a 7, not an 8 either. That's 2, that's 8. That's that triplet resolved. The 1, 3 are staying. This is not a 9. Therefore, this is the 9. That's a 1, 3 pair now. That's not a 9 either. That's 6. That's 9. This has to change. So it's either 2, as in it's a low digit, and 1 and 3 are gone, or 4 or 5, because 6 is not available as in a middle digit. Not sure it's helpful, if I'm honest. These are from 1, 2, and 8, also not helpful. Right, this is probably better. I can pencil mark what these are. This is 6 or 7. No, this is 3 or 6. That 6 tells me the order. That's 6, that's 3, that's 1, that's 3, that's 1, that's 3. That's not a 1. We need a 1. I think that's 1's done. Oh, that 8 is gone because of this 8. So that's a 2, that's an 8. That 2 gives me a 4 up here. That's not a 4. That's a 7, which gives me the 3, the 7, the 3, the 4. We know what these are. These are 5. I mean, 5 is obvious. 4 and 5. Don't know where they go. And these are from 6, which I do know where it goes. That's 6. That's a 6. That's a 2. Gives me a 5 in here. Gives me 2 or 8, and thankfully that's resolved with that 8. That's a 2. That's an 8. That's a 2. 8, 2, 8. Right, unless I've made any silly mistakes, we're on the home stretch. That's a 5, 4, 5, 7. And if I've not made any mistakes, 4 for the finish. Phenomenal puzzle. Solve counter of 69. I mean, it certainly deserves more attention than it's received, gUBBLOR, for sure. And, excuse me, sorry, and Schwupel. But it is a hard puzzle. I think just familiarity with equality cages meant, you know, the 3-6 immediately was helpful. I wasted so much time in here in this corner. I mean, it was helpful in the sense that once I went down, came back up with a 4, it helped resolve this entire box pretty quickly, but I wasted a lot of time. The other break-in, obviously, with the modularity line in terms of figuring out all of these colors in the 2-8 pair was lovely as well. I'm just looking around. Knowing that this had an 8 was important, the 1-9. So I don't know, it flowed fairly smoothly for me, despite my lack of familiarity with modularity lines. But I guess deliberately I went out of my way of making sure that I color them, because otherwise I will not spot them / think about them. But I just, you know, it's lovely to see that kind of interplay between the X's and entropy lines. Didn't know about that. Anyway, enough of the analysis. I hope that you guys enjoyed the puzzle and the video, and I'll see you back for the next one. Bye-bye for now.